Good evening, everyone. By the way, I am Leslie Buyunas, and I am going to discuss some of the metal can defects that involve their classification, description, as well as what would be the reason or sources why these defects present in the can. There are seven categories of metal can defects, and I would choose one of each of those categories. First would be the metal plate manufacturing defects. It had four examples, and I choose the pinhole. Pinhole was considered as a serious metal plate defect. We could be able to recognize it by looking at the hole of the metal plate originating in the rolling mill, and it could be varied upon the size, from barely visible to large irregular shaped holes with rough edges. The reason of the sources why this pinhole occurred was due to foreign particles that may be rolled into place during the rolling operation in the mill, especially if they do not bond with the plate. If there were large particles extend to both surfaces of the plate, the pinhole could be present. Other sources of this defect, when the plate was working during the can manufacturing or either flex during retorting, this could lead to pop out, leaving a hole or considered a pinhole in the plate. Another example would the coating drip. This defect was belonged to the coating application defects. It was considered minor defect unless careful examination could prove that the defect was serious defect. It could be considered serious defect if the hole and or plate corrosion was detected after the thorough examination, and then which could be include opening the can or removal the coater drip to determine the condition of the metal plate. Coater drip may identify if the drop of coating, both exterior and interior, were open, appearing a tiny hard metallic bubbles of coating, and it could be resembling a scrap in dye type defect. So this defect occurred due to drips of splashes from the coating operation. Another example would be the flax stains. It was belonged to the body manufacturing defect, and it was considered as a minor three-piece can defects. Flax stains described as a dark brown resinous staining on the inside surface of the side seam or lap. The flaxes used to manufacture food cans in Canada are considered are non-toxic and will not impart of odors or either of flavors to the product. Common sources of this defect were the excessive flux during the side seam or during soldering operation. Another example would be the double ends. It was belonged to the can and manufacturing defect, was considered a serious container defect, and it could be described if the two ends are seamed onto one end of the can body. The double seam has the appearance of additional thickness and length and may have numerous drops or V along the double seam. Common source of these of the two strips of the end plate were stuck together as they entered the end press. So it was the resulting ends have the two thicknesses or plate that are curled together, and only the inner end was compound lined. Other, if two independently formed ends was stuck together and double seam onto a body. Another example would be the broken chalk. It was belonged to double seam defect, was considered a serious seam defect due to the absence of tightness at the point of the defect. It could be described if the portion of the double seam does not properly iron out because of void in the chalk leaf, or considered insufficiently tight and appearing as a irregularity on the countersink wall of the seam. It could be present due to the chip seaming chalk caused by jam up or improper sit up. Another example is the overfile or flipper, sprinkler, and swell. It was belonged to the other manufacturing defects, must be treated as serious container defects unless testing proves otherwise. So it was described, or it was used to describe cans which have ends distant to varying degrees from several causes. The cans must be checked for microbial growth, chemical reactions such as hydrogen gas production, the internal corrosion, or weight. So this defect was present could be due to overfiling or failure to draw a proper vacuum, the microbial spoilage with gas production that may be resulting from under processing, microbial spoilage with gas production resulting from post process contamination, microbial gas production during time lag between closing and processing, and as well as hydrogen gas production from a chemical reaction of product with a metal plate. Last example would be the punctured, belong to the handling defects. Was considered a serious consumer defect. It described as a complete penetration through the metal plate of the can body or end by a sharp object such that there is loss of hermeticity. The common source could be punctures from the sharp corners of equipment, punctures from sharp objects such as staples, cuts or gashes from knives or similar tools, and punctures from forks or left struts. In summary, this video discusses the 7 metal can defects by choosing one sample each of these defects, such as the pinhole, cotton chip, flux stains, double N, broken chalk, overfile, flipper, sprinkler as well. Lastly, the punctured. Their classification, description, and common sources may enhance our knowledge in terms of identifying kinds of metal can defects. That's all. Thank you.